YouTube channel is back. I'm not sure for how long, but we're going to stay on this one for just as long as we can, and the other one will be the backup. But the nice thing having the backup back is all my playlists have been restored. My favorite playlist was the Hoax playlist. All the different times, especially since Trump was elected, that various white liberals and black people came out and said they were the victims of relentless white racism all the time, everywhere. That explained everything. Then that turned out to be one great big fat lie, part of the greatest lie of our generation, which we of course expose here every day. Well, that's what this story is. Another big fat hoax. Oops, I think I just gave away I just did a spoiler alert. But why don't we look at the story as it broke in November about, and note about somebody who sprayed all this bad stuff on a church. But as you go through the story and you see all the people talking about what happened to their church, don't you detect at least a note of how happy they are that they're victims, that people are paying attention to them, they're victims of this stuff? And it doesn't even occur to one person in this story that there's one iota of chance that everything they're seeing is just one big fat lie.
Tonight, a church vandalized, politics and religion intersecting in Brown County. What some are calling hate speech, one congregation is looking to love. Thanks for joining us. 10 at 11, I'm Matt Smith. Church members arrived this morning to find that graffiti, Donald Trump's name, and slurs. CBS 4's Brian Bondis begins our coverage.
Good evening. I'm here on the side of St. David's Episcopal Church in Bean Blossom, where, as you can see, the graffiti is still very visible tonight. Church leaders say they left the graffiti uncovered to show their mission of inclusiveness is working.
I have not seen anything. I have not even heard a bad word spoken about St. David's, so this came out of the blue.
St. David's Reverend Kelsey Hutto arrived at church this morning to find this: graffiti spray painted on her church walls, a swastika, words that read "Heil Trump," and an offensive slur targeting gays and lesbians.
We accept anybody, and one thing about St. David's is it doesn't matter what color you are, where you come from, or who you love. You are welcome here, and we respect the dignity of every human being.
Hutto says she believes in part that is why her church was targeted this weekend, and while she says the congregation took the news hard this morning, they found strength in their faith.
Our response to this is not to be hate, it's not to be vengeance or revenge, but it's supposed to be love, and that love conquers all hate, and so they took comfort in that.
Comfort from a harsh election season and its results, as protests have erupted in several states, including Indiana. Tonight, the Brown County Sheriff's Office is investigating. Hutto hopes the graffiti will help her congregation grow its ministry and its message.
And I think this gives us an opportunity to witness, not just to witness to love, but also to our faith in Christ, and that just because the walls of our church have been defaced does not mean the inside has changed, or that our call from Christ has changed.
Now, this church does not have any security cameras, so this investigation could be tough. Tonight, the congregation is asking the community and anyone with information to come forward immediately and contact the Brown County Sheriff.
Of course, after the story broke of the so-called vandalism, people from around the country were leaving comments, writing emails, tweeting about how, oh, this is terrible, awful, oh, you hate when this happens, oh yeah, these Trump people, Trump was personally out there spray painting that stuff on the church. So how many of these have we seen? I'll put up my hoax playlist where we kind of get a better idea of the hundreds of hoaxes since Trump's election. But the biggest hoax of all is the Southern Poverty Law Center saying there are thousands of these hate crimes all over the country, when they just don't document them, other than asking us to take their word for it. But how many videos do we have of people spray painting something, getting caught doing it, or making a fake phone call, or trying to set somebody up for something? There's an enormous amount of this. Anyway, let's get to the punchline of the story. But watch how long it takes for the Indianapolis paper that does the story to get to the part where, oh yeah, not only is this a hoax, somebody who worked in a church did it, the guy who called it in did it, and he's a gay guy, an organist. That doesn't really seem to matter that much, though, does it? Well, it sure didn't matter to this guy, Daniel Dugan, because Dugan, he's just one of the many people who wrote comments on this page saying, oh yeah, okay, well, this story wasn't wrong, but, it's the old Dan Rather thing, right? Well, I had my facts wrong, but the story was right. So everybody knows that Trump people are out there hating, creating all this racist graffiti 24 hours a day. Well, everybody knows that, right? Yeah, that's true, even though we actually don't have any proof of it other than the fantasies of the Southern Poverty Law Center, other than the fantasies of clowns like Daniel Dugan and the priest in that Episcopal church, other than the most ardent desire among liberals and black people in this country to never do anything to make the black kids angry.